Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are now looking at day 19 of our new adventure, and I wanted to share with you some new learning that I've done. I discovered that on my Lenovo laptop, it has the Xbox record button, so I can record what's on my screen as I'm doing it. So today I'm going to be playing with that, and I'll take some video with my camera to like talk to you face to face and demonstrate some stuff. And then I'll also be switching to a PowerPoint so you can see what's on my screen, and just playing with that. So I don't expect it to go smoothly or to be easy for me. And maybe the edits and the cuts aren't going to be absolutely perfect. But this is my first time messing with it, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. And so that kind of brings me up to words of wisdom from Mrs. Rudd. I'm really excited to be learning new things and taking my teaching to a different level. I'm not um, I'm not used to teaching online. I never thought I would like it, and I never thought I'd like to communicate with students in this way. I always thought I prefer to have them sitting in front of me, and that it turns out that's not really the case. I like to witness the learning. Um, that's what motivates me for this. So this is a totally new way of doing it. I also get to experiment with new technology and learn how to do a bunch of stuff, and that's really cool. So there's definitely like a silver lining to this cloud that's here, and I just wanted to also share with you, anytime we do something for the first time, it's gonna be hard and it's gonna stink for maybe 5, 6, 7 times that we do it. And then we start to get more comfortable with it. And then we might move on to new learning, or we might become experts at what we choose to take on. So I wanted to let you know, and I sent this in an email to all of your parents too. This is an opportunity for us. You are no longer required to sit your butts down in the seats of our classrooms for 6 hours a day. You have the potential to do whatever you want as long as you're following house rules and you're practicing social distancing and you're not going places you shouldn't or causing harm. But your potential to do something new is there. So instead of watching YouTubers or TikTokers, you can become the new sensation. You can work at your video editing. You can skateboard around your house. You can go dig up living organisms. You can make fishing lures. You can prepare your livestock for fair to like the absolute best of your ability. You could grow a garden. You could learn an instrument, a new instrument, become a master at an old instrument. You want to take apart a car, you want to take apart a computer, as long as your parents are cool with that, then you have the opportunity to actually do things. So I wanted to talk to you about motivation. Studies on this have been really strong, and they have done studies to find out what motivates people, mostly in the business world, but then it trickles down to education and students your age. And they found that there's two types of motivation. There's intrinsic motivation, which is you do stuff because you want to do it. You have a reason for doing it, which might be it interests you, you're fascinated with it, you're curious about the topic, or you know it will make your life better, or make other people's lives better, and so you want to help, you want to make a difference in that sort of way. So that's intrinsic motivation. Unfortunately, education has mostly been extrinsic motivation, which is where you are faced with a choice of doing something or not, and receiving a reward or receiving a punishment. So the reward in education could be a good grade, scholarships for when you get older, getting into a good college, the attention of teachers and peers and parents in a positive way. So those are all motivators that are extrinsic, come in the form of rewards. You do it because you have to get these things. Or there's the opposite. You receive a punishment if you don't, or if you do it the wrong way. So you don't do an assignment and you fail that assignment, or you fail a class. You lose the respect of teachers if you don't perform certain tasks. You may lose the respect of groups who don't want you in their group to work. And we call those carrots, the rewards, and sticks, the punishments. And so education has always kind of been like that. And this gives us a whole new opportunity to get rid of that system. The carrot here is for your own advantage. It's purely intrinsic. There are no sticks here. We're not grading anything. You have the option to do this stuff. And it's just my hope that you will have your mind opened and discover something that maybe you didn't know before, and you take the opportunity to play and to enjoy the learning more than, oh, I have to do it right or I'm going to get a bad grade. Oh, I have to do this assignment just a certain way or I'm going to get a bad grade. So the purpose of doing these assignments is to present what you've learned, right? And to do it to actually learn, but then also to teach your classmates. Our first assignment today is going to be to play with magnets. You'll want to find magnets around your house. A lot of times you'll find them on the fridge, and see what you can do with them. Like, what sort of magic tricks can you make them do? I'm going to demonstrate a little bit later some cool stuff that I've discovered, but I simply want you to play with it, because I don't know that you ever really get the opportunity or the excuse to mess around with them. And that's where a lot of good science comes from. It's just, what if? What if we try and do this, and what if we try and do that? So I'm going to go ahead and switch over my camera to look at my screen and go over some review stuff, and then I'll demonstrate. So today, I want you to play. I want you to record some of your playing, like make the magnets do something cool. Can you make them spin? Can you make them float? Can you make them stick to different things? And then record that, and then I'm going to have you put it into a shared Google slideshow. The directions for how to do that are on the second slide of the slideshow. So if you have trouble with this, or you don't have a camera or phone, or the camera on your computer is glitching, whatever, don't worry about it. There's a chance for you to participate and read what other people write, and also do the comments section of the Google Classroom. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the slideshow we're doing. I'm going to try and see if I can get this. There we go. Okay, so we're currently in the unit that we would have started had we gone back to school on the 16th, electromagnetic force. And if you want to go back and review Investigation 1, you're welcome to, but it's not a have to. This is all about magnets, this investigation 2. So to review what we covered in the last one, our big key concepts were, what is force? So force is a push or a pull, and it has to be an interaction between two things. And the second is, what is kinetic energy? And this is something that we've covered previous in the year, either 6th grade covered it, or last year covered it. And kinetic energy is the energy of motion. So each of you has a magnet. And here's where I want you to take a few minutes and observe its properties and find out what it can do. So go ahead and hunt for some magnets. And then I also want to point out that if you have a magnet that is always a magnet. It's called a permanent magnet. Um, so that is one of our vocab words. You may be able to think of other magnets like horseshoe magnets, the bar-shaped magnets with the N and the S on them. There's big, small, and strong magnets. There's magnetic toys that like ABCs and pictures that you can put on your refrigerator. And so often we find the magnets on our refrigerator doors. We have a lot of magnets on our front door too, because yeah, we're weird like that. So I'm gonna flip the video around and demonstrate some of my playing. So I've got two different kinds of magnets here. Got some really strong magnets, and then I've got these magnets that are donut shaped, like you saw in the slideshow just recently. And these are really, really fun to play with. So the first thing I did, let's see, when I was playing with it, I think I can get it to do that. So here's a magic trick. It's not sticking to my ring, so I'll kind of move this. And that's something to consider. When you play with these magnets, you will recognize that they don't stick to everything. So they're not sticking to my hand, they're sticking to each other. They didn't stick to my ring, which is made out of gold. They will stick to my pen. Like I can feel the pull, I can feel the force here. They do not stick to the wire, the spiral bound wire here. They do stick to these. That's one thing. They won't stick to plastic. Right, so just go around and see what they do stick to. I advise you to don't set these on your computer because they'll mess up the hard drive, and don't set them on your phone. Same deal. They have the potential to pull off some crazy stuff. So other fun stuff that I did, I'm gonna tilt this down just a smidge. I was playing with this the other day. When I'm holding it here, it's very like, I have to like push it down to get it to go in, right? To get it to touch. But then when I let go, it like does this little flip thing, right? And then like, of course there's holes in here that are the right size. So I put those in. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. Oh, kind of scares me. Oh, if I move it just a little bit, it pops up. I'll try and do that again. So I put the magnets in the hole like so, and I just kind of adjusted it until it popped up and did that. Oh, let's see how far away I can get it. Oh my gosh, you see that? I'll move my finger. It made it spin, and then it pulled it. Yeah, if I don't get it too close, I can make it move. You can also force them away from each other. Like, look, I'm not touching it here, so it's like magic, right? And then I've also seen my kids like take this and put one magnet set underneath the table. I've got drawers here, so that's not gonna work, and like make them move around. Maybe I can make it do this. Oh, whoa. Yeah, I can totally make it go around the plate. So that's fun stuff. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was you can make them levitate. So you can stack all of them. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Let me flip it around. Okay. So that way, right? So you can kind of start to figure out properties, right? And then like that. That's something I just noticed, like these are further apart and then these get closer and closer. Like it's almost like there's more weight. So there's force pushing down on them. Right? Oh, there they can kind of spread out and I can go in the opposite direction. So just some fun things to play with there. All right, so I'm going to flip back to the other video. All right, so I told you this wasn't going to go so smooth. I went and I looked at this last section and realized that when I went to go do the slideshow, it did not flip over to the slideshow, so I got to mess with that. So I'm going to redo this little part. So the demonstration that I just did, we figured out some magnetic properties. So think about what is the same about all the objects that stick to your magnets. Now I feel like Blue's Clues, if y'all know what that is. He waits. So you can think for yourselves. But you probably said in your head, well, it connects to metal things and other magnets, duh. So it's important to understand that the thing it sticks to the most, the metal it sticks to the most that has the strongest pull, is iron. So iron is an element found on the periodic table of elements that seventh graders you learned last year in sixth grade. But iron is a common metal that they use to mix with other substances, and they can make different types of steel. So magnets stick to steel because it's iron in there. And if a magnet sticks to an object, that object is probably made of iron or steel. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down to our focus question. Our focus question here is, what happens when magnets interact? And this is what I'd like you to answer in the comment section. Even if you can't do the video and post it to the slideshow, I want you to try and do the comment section and answer the focus question and see what other people write too. So what happens when magnets interact? And the more you play with them, the more you can figure out what cool stuff they can do. All right. So you probably noticed that certain magnets will attract sometimes, and they will repel other times. So when they pull on each other and stick, that's called attract. And when the two magnets come together so that they push apart, we say repel, right? And it's an invisible force. You can tangibly feel it in your hands. You can feel that push and pull. There's another invisible attractive force, and that's the force of gravity. But gravitational force doesn't go both ways. It's always an attractive force between objects, like between the Earth and objects on Earth. It never repels. So why do you think two magnets repel sometimes and attract at other times? All right, and so you can think, like when you experimented, if you had two magnets, which hopefully you did, you might have noticed there's different sides on them, right? So when you bring them together in your hand, they attract and they stick together. And if you flip one around, they repel and push away, so the sides are different. So the two sides of a magnet are called poles. So one is called the South Pole and the other is called the North Pole. And every magnet, including the ones that you're messing with, has a South Pole and a North Pole. So your donut magnets, or the donut magnets that I was demonstrating with, have their poles on the flat surfaces. So a question to ask yourself, do magnets attract when the North Pole of one magnet comes close to the North Pole on a second magnet, or do the magnets attract when the North Pole on one magnet comes close to the South Pole on a second magnet? So when we talk about the poles to the magnets, right, I got two donut-shaped ones, and they attract each other here, and then they repel each other here. Like I can feel a force pushing opposite directions against each other, right? So the two different sides of the magnets here, like, are on the flat surface. So this could be the north side, and since they are repelling each other, right, they're not opposite ends of poles, they'd be the same. These two sides would be the same polarity, so they're pushing against each other. If I take one and I flip it over, now I've got a north-south facing, and they attract each other. All right, so do magnets attract when the north pole of one magnet comes close to the north pole of a second magnet? So no. Or do magnets attract when the north pole in one magnet comes close to the south pole on the second magnet? All right, and so the answers to those are, we got north-south, we have an attraction. Okay. And so now I'll just give you some time to play with your magnets and write the response in the comments. And then please try and upload a video of you playing with your magnets, make them do something cool, maybe something that I didn't do in this demonstration, and look at what other people are doing and see if you can get your magnets to do it, and just enjoy. So thanks for going with me on this journey of trying something new. It was a little rough. I hope it's not too boring. It's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I'm learning, and that's a great thing. So I hope you guys are too. Bye.